Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this channel and another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. I have no idea, absolutely no idea how I always seem to be on here and hosting these when we lose. Honestly, I must be an unlucky charm. Seriously. I'm sure that's not the case, but it certainly seems like it. I'll tell you. We're live on YouTube, X, and Facebook, as always. So do get involved and let us know how you're feeling right now. As a Spurs fan, talking about Tottenham's loss. We were 1-0 up and then we lost 2-1 to Villa, a Villa team that haven't been doing as well as their previous seasons, but we do seem to contrive and find a way to mess things up sometimes, don't we? Right, before I introduce the guests, let's get into the match facts and stats. Let's bring these up on screen. Okay, so as you know, Tottenham 1, Villa 2. First goal from Bentancur, set up by a lovely header from Paulinho at the back post, and then Villa came back into it. Morgan, Rogers and Buendia settled it for Villa. Match momentum. You can see, actually, it says here that you'd almost see that Spurs had the most momentum in the game, but Villa with a sustained period towards the end there and just saw the game out. Overall possession, 52.8 for Spurs, 47.2 for Villa. XG, 0.97 for Spurs, 0.37 for Villa. Very poor, really, attacking, isn't it? 9 shots for Spurs, for 8 for Villa, and 3 on target only for Tottenham and 2 for Villa. Those are the 2 they scored. Total touches inside the opposition box, 27 for Tottenham, 8 for Villa. Keeper saves, 0 for Vicario, 2 for Martinez in the Villa goal. 11 fouls committed for Tottenham, 7 for Villa, 6 corners apiece. Distance covered about the same, 107 kilometres per team. And as you can see there, just been through the attacking stats, 9 and 8. And shots on target, 3 and 2. I won't go into the rest of that. We lost the game. Nobody wants to know about that, do they? Let's get the guests on and talk to the guests, and let's get into talking about this weird game. I must admit, I thought it was very boring, but yeah, get down in the comments, everyone, and let me know how you're feeling as a Spurs fan. First, back with us after a few weeks layoff, recording films and all that kind of malarkey. Ricky J. Norwood's back with us. That's something to smile about. How are you, Rick?
I'm good, my friend. I am good. Good to be back on with you, lovely gentlemen, and all you beautiful people around the world. Unfortunate that it was a loss today, but looking forward to jumping in with you guys and breaking it down.
Absolutely. And Melvyn is back with us all the way from Malta. How are you doing, Melvyn?
Yeah, not too bad. Doesn't help my streak as well, coming on after a loss. But yeah, I didn't expect us to lose today. I was writing in the chat before the game, must win, very important 3 points. Really disappointed, especially to be doing this literally minutes after the final whistle. Yeah, it's poor. Happy to be back on. It's been a while. Busy with life and stuff like that. But I'm sure I'll get my free therapy session now for the hour, which is something that I've missed. But yeah, I'm happy to be here with you guys and to discuss the game. But it's just been terrible day, terrible performance, and I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think frustrating for me is the word that I've used many, many times on here. Just frustrated again today. And Terry in New York is back with us. How are you, Terry?
Hi, hey guys. So I'm happy to be on with you again, and it's great to see you, Craig, Ricky, Melvyn. It's I would say can't wait to dissect the game, but I'm almost kind of I don't know. After that, it's going to be a bit tough. It's feel gut punched, to be honest. It's it just wasn't expected. I think it was against the run of play here, and I was so looking forward to today's game. I don't know about you guys, but this international break for me, it felt really, really long. It felt a lot longer than 2 weeks, and it's just really was looking forward to seeing the team back. And but after this past couple, just a little shell shocked, to be honest. After that second goal game, and it just. But we'll get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ricky, it's a good place to start, actually. Just give us your overall feelings on the game today.
For me, bro, it was a crazy one. I mean, I kind of agree with Terry there. You know, the international break did feel terribly long, and then where I was working as well, it's like I jumped in, so I couldn't watch any football while I was away because the internet was terrible, and I was the only Tottenham fan on set. You know, the cast, crew, lighting guy, even the guy that came and cleaned up and everything like that. No one else was Tottenham apart from me. So even when the games were on, it was always somebody else's team. So it was one of those. So I have missed watching football and seeing the boys and then being able to jump in with you guys as well. So I was looking forward to today. You know, I didn't think we would lose today. I mean, my initial feeling that it was going to be a 2-1 and it was going to be a bit of a back and forth, which it kind of was. It was kind of like two southpaw boxers for me, you know. Of equal abilities fighting each other, and some people might call that boring sometimes because they're fainting and they're moving and they're trying to fake a guy out and they're trying to try and tire him out and wear him down a little bit. But I could see that both the sides today were firstly really up for the challenge, and Aston Villa had something to prove as well. You know, they haven't had the greatest of starts, so they've got a lot of things to prove. But so it was a very back and forth game for me. But I thought that we was in control for the majority of it. I think that we should have scored when we were on top. I think there were chances there, but it was just an inch or two away. Whether that was reaching the man or, we had 2 offside goals as well today, So there was a lot going on. I think Aston Villa, like you just said there, they had 2 shots on goal and 2 of them were on target and they scored with both of those goals, both pretty much worldies, especially Morgan Rogers' goal. I do feel Vicario could have got there, or made a better attempt at stopping it. It's the only kind of criticism I'll put in there. But both goals are really good goals and accurate at those times. I just felt with us is that there were times where we should have shot that we didn't shoot. When we did find that half a yard, but we took an extra touch. And sometimes getting the pass off to get a runner in behind as well. I feel that we took an extra touch sometimes. We had the majority of the game. We had the majority of the chances. We looked like the ones that were going to make it happen and going to win the game. But it's that same old kind of Tottenham story is when we don't score when we're on top and take advantage of when we're in control of the games. It's normally when we get a sucker punch. I don't think the subs helped too much today. It was good that Kolo Muani came on and got some minutes. But I don't think the subs really, Papsar and Bergvall didn't really help do anything extra that we needed in midfield. We needed to get some more energy in there, but I don't think where it was so chaotic, I don't think they really helped in today's game, and nor did Richarlison. Richarlison came on and, pretty much had about 3 touches of the ball, fell over twice and got grass on his shirt, but only had 3 touches. I don't know what that's about, but, I'm only joking. It was one of those, but we kept going. We kept pushing. We kept fighting. The boys wanted to win, and I do think once Xavi starts to settle in a lot more and starts to have a striker in front of him that he knows where his runs at, and start to build a relationship with one of the strikers that we do have, I think we'll start to get that click up front and we'll start to get more on target and we'll start to get more shots off. There was a lot of good things today, and then there were some glaring bad things today. Plenty of room for work. I don't feel that we should have lost that game. I felt that Villa had the 2 chances and they were aggressive. And I think that's one of the things that we missed the most as well, was our aggression. Our aggression up front that we saw against PSG and the start of the season. We haven't utilised that as much going in. And Villa are a physical side. They're a strong side. So I think that's where they came out on top, was their aggression. But I think we was unlucky not to draw, if not win that game today. So I'm not too hard on the boys. There is room for improvement. There are lessons to learn. But tough one to take. But it was one of those that were going to go either way, and it just didn't go our way today.
Melvyn, what was your thoughts on the game?
I think we're really struggling up front, struggling to create, struggling to finish off chances. The few that come, I think the only real chances we've had were from these set pieces, corners, long throws, which are quite easy to generate because they happen quite frequently in the game. Kevin Danso had about, I think, 6 or 7 long throws, which were good. It frustrates me when the game is slowed down, though, when he has the towel in his hands, and I just think we need to speed up the game more. It kind of loses the atmosphere a little bit at the stadium, which was quite flat, and I could see it from here. I think it's not clear what the best lineup is yet. I still think there's room for players to fight for their position. I think Xavi was a bit poor. I don't think he's had. I missed the second half of Leeds where I heard he played quite well, but I don't think he's really lived up to the hype yet. I know he's still young. He's still bedding into the Premier League, but there's still a lot that needs to come from our attacking four. I think Palhinha and Bentancur had a good game, but it's still quite poor, especially at home. I expected more, from an attacking sense. Odegaard and Tell, I don't think we're very good. I'm going to try not to criticize them because they're still young and still developing, and with everyone fit, they probably wouldn't start. I just think if Kulusevski was there, if Maddison was there, if Koulibaly, had a proper preseason, I just think, and I don't know why all of a sudden Richarlison is on the bench. I thought he had such a great start to the season, scored a couple of good goals, and with the tactic implied today with the crossing and all of that, I really thought we needed more physicality in the box. I thought we lacked a lot of physicality, which is something that Aston Villa have a lot more than us, which is why Kudus is quite good on the right, because he's quite physical and he wins his battles one-on-one. And then you don't knock him off the ball, and something we don't have on the other side of the pitch. I don't know why Sarr is not starting. In my opinion, I think he had a great start to the Premier League. Couple of goals, couple of really good performances. He has the stamina and the lungs to cover most of the pitch. I think there's question marks being raised about Vicario potentially, even though, like Ricky said, the goals were quite good. Really nice shot from Rodgers, which is a player that we've looked at in the past, who I think we should be back in for January or the summer. The substitutions were too late. I just think he needed to make one at halftime. I don't know why he doesn't do that often enough. I think he needs to be more reactive to the situation. And from watching Spurs in the past, when a couple of our chances didn't go in, I just thought, we're going to lose this today. And because we've done that so many times, we come out and we have a few chances, we don't score, the opposition come up once and they score immediately, and that's just football. I've seen this episode before, I've seen this game many times. What can change? I just think time. The manager needs time. The players need time. It's still early. I mean, we're still a young. I still feel we have the same problems as last season. It's still a young team, a new coach, new philosophy. Players are still developing. Players are still building relationships with each other. Some had, still coming back from injury. Odegaard didn't play at all last season. He missed, I think, 90% of it. So it's bad because we lost the 3 points, and this could have taken us second, and we could have had a good end to the weekend. But in the perspective of our season, I'm still happy with the manager, happy where we are. But yes, it's a shit one to take today.
Yeah, it certainly is. I agree actually with this. Coming here from Kia 45, 1 point from 9 against Bournemouth, Wolves and Villa. Hope that carries on. We know what's going to happen. Simply not good enough. I'm not sure Thomas Frank's head's going to be on the block just yet, but I agree with that. It's not. He's not very good when you look at it. I was just incredibly frustrated with today. Like I say, we had what is the most frustrating for me is we had the chance to go second. And how many times have we seen Tottenham when we've got a chance to go second or third and steal a march from the people around us who may have slipped up, or just to keep touch with the top four, and we lost again. That seems to happen a lot. Terry, what did you make of today?
Yeah, I think both Ricky and Melvyn have made some really good points here. It's Ricky, you used that boxing analogy, that you thought it was back and forth. If this was a boxing match, then I think we had them on the ropes for much. I think we were a much better side. I thought we played really, really well. Even when the score was at 1-1, I kept thinking, my gosh, if we draw here, it's going to be such a disappointing result. It's going to be 2 dropped points for us. So to not only have a draw, but to actually lose the game, like I said before, it just feels like an absolute gut punch. Really, I thought we were really dominant. The glaring weak point for me, I agree with you, Melvyn, is up front, specifically at left wing and striker. I appreciate that you're trying to defend Odegaard here. I think I don't see it with him. There's been this narrative over the last few weeks from Spurs fans that Odegaard is looking better. He's starting to look stronger. I don't see it at all with him. He reminds me a bit of Lucas Moura, where he'll have a couple of flashy moves. He may get past one guy, but in the end, inevitably, he loses the ball and he loses possession. And it's like, I think he's becoming a liability for us. Like the 2 goals that Villa scored, you almost can't be mad at them. That first one from Rodgers was just a worldie. The second one was just kind of a freak play where it was an amazing pass and an amazing touch of the ball, an amazing shot as well. So I don't think those are repeatable goals for Villa over and over again, or for any team. But for us on the other side of the ball, we need to be more threatening on the offensive side of the ball. And we're not, when we're constantly losing possession on the left side of the ball. It's on the left side of the team. And I don't understand why it felt like we were primarily going down the left side with Spence and Odegaard. And even when Xavi would get the ball, he wouldn't go right. He'd go to the left. I mean, the contrast between that side and then the right side with Porro and Kudus. I mean, Kudus, every time he gets the ball, you expect something to happen. You get out of your seat, and more times than not, he'll cross or put in a dangerous ball into the box. Whereas Odegaard just loses possession again and again and again and again. Tell, I thought, was okay. I was actually quite happy to see him start over Richarlison, who I think has been really, really poor. I think when he came in, he kind of just reinforced that. Tell, I thought he played a big part in that first goal with that press, winning the corner, and then taking the corner kick that eventually led to that goal. But we have to do something about that left wing. I almost feel like it either Richarlison on the left wing or Kolomwani, just something different where we have some kind of consistent threat, some kind of threat where we aren't losing possession on that left side of the ball. So, yeah, like Craig, like you said, just all the more frustrating for me just because I thought we played really well, but we have these just 2 glaring weaknesses in strike. Everywhere else, I thought we were quite solid, really.
I think for me that we don't probably realise, any of us, how lucky we were to have Son and Harry Kane at the peak of their powers. Because when you look at those two positions, it is, I hate to say it, but it's the two positions where probably we've got the weakest personnel. But then again, if you're trying to match people up with Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, that's an incredibly difficult thing to do, and everybody's going to compare them to those players because they were so phenomenal for Tottenham. The one thing that you can't paper over or anything for me is 3 wins in 18 Premier League matches at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now that's just not going to cut it. That's not good enough. So I don't know what it is about our home stadium, which Thomas Frank has said he wants to be our fortress. Yeah. It's nowhere near a fortress. I think that all the doors are open, all the windows are open, and people are just coming in and having a party. It's just not good enough. Our stadium, now that atmosphere at the stadium today, I didn't think, it didn't come across on the telly like there was much of an atmosphere. And you could argue all day whether that's up to the crowd to get the players going or the players to get the crowd going. Now, I always think it's a mixture of both. I do. I think it's up to the crowd to gee on the players, but the crowd have got.
Can you guys hear Craig?
No.
Okay. Hey Craig, we can't hear you all of a sudden.
No.
You just went on mute. Yeah, Craig, we can't hear you.
Hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah.
Good, we're back. Yeah, I've no idea why that went on mute. I didn't mute myself, but I can't even remember what you heard now. I don't know where you got up to, but we
missed the last 20 seconds or so.
They were entertained. All right. Well, I just don't think. Yeah, somebody just said crowd was as silent as Craig at the moment. That's probably right. They were entertained for 5 minutes. And then Spurs did what we do. But look, Rick, let's come on to you. Actually, I'm going to try and put the lineup on the screen here because I wasn't sure about this lineup. I don't know about you. I'll let you take this one, Rick. What did you make of the Spurs lineup when it came out? Obviously, with Romero being dropped as well, which we now know he was injured in the warm up. But what did you make of that?
Well, I think that definitely kind of look. Kevin Danza, I felt done really well today. You know what you're going to get from Big Kev. He's a strong guy. He's got that that amazing throwing as well. But there's a massive difference between him and Romero, and whatever they've been working on. Romero is a big part of the switching of play. Being able to be a calm defender, bring it out of the defensive line, and then ping them Toby Alderweireld type passes to get moves going as well. So, yes, this is what the squad's about, so that when we do get an injury, somebody can come in and, all right, it's not the same ability, but the same level, but you've got somebody of an ability that brings something to the table. So he brings his strength, aerial presence, and the throw in, but he might not be able to give you the crossfield ping of a pass. So that's definitely going to disrupt things. So all right, fine. And then for me, to tell you the truth, Craig, and I know you've got concerns with the lineup, but For me, I really wanted to see Papsar start with either Bentancur or Palhinha. I do feel, I think like Melvyn said earlier, that I think Pap has been fantastic this season. Started the season with great energy, and he's been all over the park when he starts the game. But this is what the manager's got. He's got tools in his box, and he's putting together a different game plan for different sides, and that the physicality side might have been a reason for playing Bentancur instead of Pap. But I would have liked to see Pap there. But for me, I was excited to see Odebear and Tell. I haven't seen them start yet. And after the last couple of weeks, Tell getting his goal against Leeds, but especially them two linking up for the under-21s. I think Frank's idea was to try and bring that form into the team and into this game. So I was excited to see what they had to bring today, because I haven't really seen much of them yet. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, and Xavi in the 10 as well. So I was excited to see that as well. But at the same time, I did think, okay, cool. If we've got Richarlison who started and for me, he has dropped off, but for a physical kind of number 9 up there, I'm questioning why you ain't starting him. Yeah, and then it's and bits, bro. It's and bits, if that makes any sense. But for me, this is what the tools in the toolbox are about. It's to formulate different plans. So I was excited to see what this plan was going to bring and what these guys were on. So it wasn't a massive surprise. There was a lot of excitement
for me, I just don't think Pauline.
Go on.
Sorry, Vic. I thought you'd finished there.
Yeah.
For me. Oh, good. For me, it's just my opinion. I just think Paulinia and Bentancur at home, you should be playing instead of one of those. And I would suggest Bentancur, even though he scored today, should be Bergvall in there. And Pat Sarr's just not getting a look in at the moment. I don't know. It just seemed a bit too defensive to me. What do you reckon of the lineup, Melvyn?
I think the lineup was fine, but I think the execution of it, how low we defended at times. I know he wants us to set up a bit compact to draw the team in and stuff like that. But even with Simmons, I think I agree with what Ricky was saying. I think Sarr or Bergvall need to be playing instead of Xavi Simmons. The positions Xavi occupied today, he was making slide tackles in front of the box. The first goal, he should have fouled the player and got a yellow card, but instead he opted not to do the tackle. And Rodgers took a shot which went in. So he shouldn't be in a position to defend Xavi. Xavi should be in a position to take shots, to assist players, to attack. He should be in the box. And we didn't put him in that position. If Sarr was there, if Bergvall was there, I think he would have had a greater impact on the game. And I also thought he was kind of in the way, because he was occupying those positions where Bentancur should have been, or Paulinho should have been. I thought we were too far back. We were playing at home. It was like a low block at times. I don't know. I don't want to be back to Ange ball again, but at the same time, you're playing at home, and you don't want to be defending, and Frank is all about these tight margins, being in the game, trying to win it with either a set piece or a corner kick or these long throws. But at the same time, it really worries me because the atmosphere was really bad. I thought it was really quiet. It doesn't really excite the fans. Going forward, unless we really improve up front and we go 1 or 2 or 3 goals up, I just don't think we're capable of that at the moment. I don't know if it's going to be something to do with time, something to do with personnel coming back. I think Kulusevski might be the only player that coming back that within the next few weeks, maybe a month. But you don't know what kind of condition he's going to be in. But at the same time, there's options on the bench. He needs to try different things. I forgot who's on the Archie Gray. What happened to Archie Gray? I mean, why are we trying him in the middle as well? I think the combination of Paulinho and Bentancur is solid at times, and I think it's perfect for when you're winning a game and you want to see out a game. But to be playing at home and to be playing 2 very rigid, very defensive, very strong, which is quite positive thing, midfielders, I think it makes us very one-dimensional, and it showed because Xavi was there looking for the ball, trying to occupy positions, and the ball just never came. I'm not saying Xavi's a bad player, and he's relying on service, which never arrived to him. He came deep to collect the ball, tried to make things happen, but it's not the style of football that he needs. He needs the ball, play to his feet, into space, which is something that our current midfielders can't do. I think Paulinho is brilliant, by the way. Paulinho is excellent. I just love the way he throws his body around, tackles. I think in a tight game, in a very big London derby, for example, those tackles will be immense, especially just the type of player I look up to. It's kind of my style of football, the way I like to play football. So I really like Paulinho for that reason. But going back to the team, I just think Frank, I don't know, especially at home. At home, we need to be more attacking. We can't be this safe, if you know what I mean. You need to be playing more of attacking style. And I know I'm saying that he probably will argue, I put Xavi there, so we should be more attacking. But something we're struggling with is the physicality. All teams have really, really physical players. The defenders are absolutely huge. Midfielders are huge. And if you have players that are, I think the only one that can really handle the physicality at this moment in time is Kudus from our front line, because Kudus doesn't get knocked off the ball. He can dribble past players and he can hold it up. I think even Richarlison sometimes struggles with the physicality of the Premier League, and he's not exactly small. And he's experienced in the Premier League as well. So the Premier League is so physical. You can't have, a 21-year-old who weighs probably as much as me, against these massive players and trying to attack, trying to hold off the ball. We need to have. This is why probably teams like Villa won, and other teams have won versus us, is because they stay in the game. They're physical. They're there till the 80th minute, 70th minute. And they get a scrappy goal, and sadly, it's the way the Premier League's shaping up for the last couple of seasons. You need to have proper physical players in there. I know we're still missing. I think Dominic Solanke coming back will be huge. That's also another thing. I forgot about Solanke. So I think Solanke will make quite a difference in the team. His link-up play is something that we've missed. His physicality, his height, something for the long balls. I don't think, having 20-year-olds there with Odegaard and Tell is quite the same as having Koulibaly and a fit Koulibaly and Solanke, for example. I think the team will change. All of a sudden, you're much bigger, much stronger, and you can hold off the ball. You can invite players to join in the attack. I think that's really what we need to look forward to. These to be more physical, and that's what I think will happen within the next couple of months.
Terry, let's come to you. What was your overall thoughts on the game on the lineup? Actually, anything that you would have changed or liked to have seen changed in that lineup?
No, I mostly agree with Melvyn. And when I saw it, I thought the lineup was okay, except for Odegaard. Again, I don't want to completely slag off Odegaard, but I would have liked to have seen Koulibaly or Richarlison in there. I just not sold on him. In retrospect now, I was happy to see Xavi at the 10. I'd like to always see him at the 10, but in retrospect, yeah, maybe it was a bit too defensive, even though Bentancur and Paulinho both had great games. I think at this point, Paulinho and Kudus both should be, for most games, two of the first names on the team sheet, and then everybody else should be. But yeah, in retrospect, Sarr, Bergvall probably could have made a difference before him. Someone made a comment before about the subs. I agree with that. That's probably one of the very few things I disagree with Frank on. I don't think he's made any halftime subs thus far. And and he always seems to wait until after 60 minutes to make the subs. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he never. I don't know why that is. I feel like subs could have made a difference, especially after we had some of that momentum early in that second half. Craig, to your point on the crowd atmosphere and like kind of who should be driving each other. I wonder how much of the rain had an effect on the crowd. It seems like it was raining pretty hard there. But there was a lot to cheer about in the beginning of that game. I mean, there was that after that first goal, there was that long over the top pass from Van de Ven where Kudus scored, where he was way offside, but you could see the intent and the impetus there. I don't know why the crowd couldn't get up and kind of be G'd up by that, and it seemed really, really quiet there. And then Melvin, I thought the point that you made around Solanke, we've kind of forgotten about him. He's been out for so long, but yeah, I agree. I think he'll be an absolute game changer. He has great hold-up play and great link-up play. I think he'll make Kudus better. He'll provide more options for Kudus. I think he'll do the same for Xavi. I think he'll make Xavi a better player. It's just that little triangle that we have between Xavi, the left wing, and this lack of a true number 9 really seems to be kind of our weak point at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely something still missing, Terry, in there, 100%. Like I say, I think we've all hinted at it, and you guys have covered it. I think we all know the areas in the pitch we still need strengthening, but getting Solanke back, I do agree that would be a massive boost. Ricky, let's come around to you. Let's get into
Craig,
the match.
Just real quick, I've been wondering this. Curious what you guys think with this current team, and if we had 2001 Son and 2000 Kane on top of this team, where do you think we would be? Like, do you think we would be legitimate title contenders?
With the structure that we've got right now, I think it would be on the cards. I mean, with peak Sonny and Kane, you also got to factor in that telepathy. You've also got to factor in how many times that they fed each other, for goals. So with the team that we've got now and the midfield that we've got now, the option that we've got in midfield, especially with somebody like Paulinho, I think Paulinho has been a massive upgrade on our midfield, and he's been a massive upgrade for that type of defensive midfielder as well. We've had Wanyama back in the day, we've had Højbjerg, and there was a lot of complaints about Højbjerg. I used to like Højbjerg. I understood what he done for the team at times. But this is the massive upgrade that we've always wanted. So when you put in the foundations of Romero, Van de Ven, you got the crosses of Porro and the relentless engine. When you've got to fit your doggy back or an on form, on fire Spence, plus Sonny on the wing and Harry Kane up front with a Kudus on the right side. I mean, that's tasty, and that's very, very tasty.
It is, and I would add to that though, if we had Maddison fit and Kulusevski fit as well, I think we would be definitely in the conversation, because I think that squad would be phenomenal. You could, if you're going back to 2021, Terry, I think we can probably include Gareth Bale in that, because didn't he come back in 2020, 2021? So that would be unbelievable. That would be a fantastic squad. But sadly, we haven't got either of those players anymore, have we? And that's what I wasn't getting at.
But I think that this is what it's about as well, Craig. I think this is about the new generation. We've had a massive turnover in squad, and there's a lot of people that have left, and Sonny's gone now. He's just left us. So he used to be the nailed-on left winger and the Mr. Tottenham, and yes, he didn't have as prolific a season last year as he has in the past, but he was always Mr. Man. Do you know what I mean? He's always Mr. Reliable in that sense. So I would always put my money on Sonny, but we're in a period of change, and a lot of the things that we're saying right now are the same things that were said about Sonny when he first turned up. Lightweight, too many dribbles, gave away the ball constantly. That used to be one of my bugbears back in the day. There would be many a time that he'd do 14 step overs and then run into danger, run into that same man, and you or be pushed off the ball. And you've got to remember what happened at the end of that first season. You know, he was about to leave, and it was only because of Pochettino that sat down and spoke to him and then went, "No, Sonny, trust me. I see where you're going. I see what you're going to do for this team. Stay with us. Watch next year." And he grew year in, year out. And I think that's where we're at with some of the positions on the field right now. We've got young ones in there right now up until January, and up until those that are injured become fit again and match fit at that. We've got these young ones in there, and it's up to them to start staking their claim. It's up to them to start, you know, putting in performances where it's hard to leave them off the team sheet, or it's hard to leave them out of your contemplation of a starting 11. So I think that there's hints in there with this squad, especially with someone like Odegaard today. And it was the first time that I've seen the 90 minutes of Odegaard today. I say 90 minutes, but for him from the start. I haven't seen the last 4 games. Okay, I've seen highlights, but I haven't seen the last 4 games. And you know, there was the dribbles and the excitement at the pace, the change of direction is there. Even when he stumbles into the box, he still has hold of the ball. He's just got to make clearer, better choices now with his final ball. Instead of snatching at certain passes, he's got to know where his man is. And there were times where he tried to set up Tell, he tried to set up, I think it was Paulinho at one point, and they were just unlucky that they didn't either get their laces through the shot, or it was a bit fumbled at that moment. So that's why it's really hard for me, especially learning that lesson. It's really hard to kind of just like super duper like write somebody off. And I'm not saying that anybody else is doing that, but I can see flashes there. And this is the moment of a lot of those players right now. Xavi is a young guy coming to the Premier League, and he's always had to battle against somebody bigger and stronger than him. Ever since that boy started playing football, he was always up against bigger and stronger. And so for me, is that ain't nothing to be worried about. That for me is let him find these feet, and once he does, he'll start to fly. A bit like Luka Modric as well. He was called lightweight. He was spoken about. Can you imagine? He was being spoken about like he gives the ball away too much. Luka Modric. I remember that back in the day. So we've got loads of different elements of youth and potential, and sometimes it's not going to come off for them, but it's like you got to give them their moments, you got to give them their time. And right now there's a great opportunity for them to grab the shirt up until January. Who knows what we're going to do in January, but it's a great opportunity for them to, you know, make their mistakes but learn the lessons real quick and start to make an impact and put your name down on the team sheet. So this is the period of time that I think that we're in. We're still very early days of Thomas Frank ball. Yes, Ange has been sacked at Nottingham Forest, but this is still very early days, you know, of the squad, of the tools in the box, of those tools that are being put out on the field, of them finding their feet and finding their rhythm. That's why the click up front ain't working. You know, if it was all about goals, and normally it is, but if it was all about goals, then Brennan Johnson would be playing, wouldn't he? Because he was our top goal scorer last year, and you know he also won the winner at the Europa League. You know, when we won that trophy. So if it was all just about goals, then he'd be playing on the right-hand side. But we know as fans that there's a lot more to the game than just the goals. That's why Kudus is starting on that right-hand side. And he's nailed on. You know, he might not score you a goal every week, but he's definitely going to make an impact. He's definitely going to cause chaos, and he's definitely going to find an assist or a cross or make something happen. He's always going to make something happen. So you've got somebody who was top goal scorer last year, and you've got somebody who can make an impact and is chaos within himself. So we're making different choices right now, and those things have to bed in. Also, this period of time has also been broken up by international periods of time where we haven't been able to get into rhythm. When we have hit form, there's a break. When we have hit a dip, there's been a break. So there's been loads of those moments as well. So I don't know whether this. I know, Craig, you're going to know. But like, I don't know whether this is the last international break up until January or March or something.
November.
But
It's
is
November
this
and
the
then
last
March. November and then March. We've
Okay,
still got
okay.
two more
So there
this
we go,
season.
right? So there's still one more to come, but we've got to start finding our rhythm and start finding our momentum. Today was a bad day, but I think there's loads of green shoots there.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope there is. I'm not feeling quite as positive, Rick, actually, after that performance. Somebody actually put in the comments, Pep Guardiola wouldn't take the front three that we put out today. Thing is, I suppose, is
Wait, what
I
that
would
comment?
come back to.
Say the comment.
It was
again.
something like Pep Guardiola wouldn't have put up with the front three that we put out today. And I can't find it in the comments. So the thing is, what I would say to that is, if Haaland's,
I don't know.
If Haaland's out for City, then they're not going to score as many goals. I suppose. I'm not saying Solanke's like Haaland, but yeah, it just everybody's just fed up at the moment, aren't they? Because we broke the curse of the winning before an international break, and now we've lost one after it, which we was ironically we had a pretty good record in winning after the international break, and now we just reversed it. But anyway, stop them, innit? Right, let's get on to the match. But there's actually not tons of incidents during the game other than the goals to talk about, oddly enough. Melvyn, let's come around to you for the goal. So basically, it was almost the first bit of action of the first half. So talk us through this Bentancur goal that got us dreaming off after 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was I wouldn't say a good goal because it fell to him and he slotted it in. So it's right place, the right time, kind of like Palhinha has scored this season, a few like that. A ball comes to the edge of the D. We see the players and when they upload these videos on YouTube taking these kind of shots where someone passes the ball to them from the goal and they just take one touch and shoot it in. And weirdly enough, there's a video on YouTube of Bentancur practicing and scoring the exact same goal. So these are the type of things that they're doing in training, and to see it in a football game, it's great because it's something that the manager and the players are constantly practicing at, because that's where the position that they have to occupy. And it was a good finish, deflected off the defender, but yeah, great strike, got it on target. That's all you need to do when a ball like that falls to you, power and get it on target. So great finish from Bentancur and a great cross as well into the box, which started it all off. When we scored that,
it was a good cross.
When we scored that early, I really thought, okay, that's brilliant. We're gonna score a few more now, but sadly, it didn't go like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good start. I mean, and leading on from that, Melvyn, just come out to you, Terry, on the next bit of action. It was so quick, actually. After I think it was 8 minutes gone to 3 minutes later, Kudos thinks he scored again, but ruled offside. That would have been really set us off on the right foot, wouldn't it, if that goal had been allowed? But obviously he was offside, which is a shame.
Oh yeah. I screamed so loud my family got mad at me on that one. It was a beautiful long over the top ball from Van de Ven and just a beautiful takedown by Kudus, and then the finish was so cool and so decisive. But then when you looked at the replay, I mean, both Kudus and I think Tell on the they were both easily a meter offside. So it was that would have been a real game changer, though. It's like I felt like we had all the momentum. Even after that, though, even for 10, 15 minutes after that, we still had most of the momentum until that Rodgers goal just kind of came completely against the run of play.
Yeah, and just staying with you, Terry, Porro played a lovely crossfield ball on 27 minutes to Odegaard, shoots low but saved by Martinez. I know you've been critical of Odegaard without wanting to go on him too much. Do you think Odegaard needs to just improve his finishing to become a better all-round player, or is it his game needs to go up a couple of notches for you?
I think he just needs to not lose the ball. That's it. So that's the one time that one instance is the one time I remember where he didn't lose the ball. He got a decent shot off on. So in my notes, actually that play was started by a really nice tackle from Kevin Danso on Daniel Marlin on the other side, who seemed to be through, and then Danso kind of got in at the last minute. I want to be hopeful on Odegaard. Ricky, I really liked what you said about Odegaard and kind of giving these examples of early Son and early Modric, and kind of how easily they were pushed off the ball. I hope that's the case with Odegaard, but right now he's closer to Bryan Hill than he is to Son or Modric. It's yeah, that was a nice shot by Odegaard. I felt like that's the only positive I remember from the game from Odegaard.
It is funny, isn't it? Because there is a lot of people. Obviously, everybody, as I said, is quite annoyed in the comments. I think it's fair to say, and a lot of people again are critical of the same players. A lot of people going in on Odegaard, Tell, and Xavi Simons, 3 young players, and look, we all, me included, frustrated with those 3 players' performances, but. It's difficult to know how Xavi Simons new to the Premier League. They're all new to the Premier League, let's face it. So at what point, though, do you think these players aren't just going to cut it? I mean, at the moment, dare I say it, Frank hasn't got many other options in certain positions. Yes, you could bring Johnson on. Come around to you for this, Rick, actually. Do you think Brandon Johnson should have got the head of the nod over Odegaard on that left-hand side? Or do you think Odegaard is the one showing the most form in that position at the moment?
I think where we look, you can see that in the summer that we was after a bona fide left winger, which will tell you that the faith or the trust within the ones that we've got right now ain't 100%. The ones that we've got in the squad right now are kind of they're not ready made. They have to fall a couple of times and they have to work it out. And so I don't know how long you give that, but they are very young players, right? And the thing is with young players, and I know it's a young man's game as well, but they all peak at different times. So you can look at Archie Gray and Bergvall, and Archie Gray when he's had a couple of moments that even he said is that because he was playing so many different positions last year, that the midfield position was almost something that he had to think about and almost like relearn and get back into the rhythm of. And whereas Bergvall went through the season of fire as well, and you can see him every time that he gets a game that he's growing in stature and he's growing in confidence and he's growing in kind of strength as well. So they all peak at different times. So it's a crazy one. I just think that these guys need to start grabbing their opportunities. Yeah, need to start kind of making more of an impact. But it ain't the finished article right now. So I think the club know that, and I think that the fact that they were going so heavy for Savinho before the window shut shows you that they wanted a physical up front. They wanted a physical front three. They wanted Richarlison, Kudus, and Savinho as technical and strong players going up there. They also went for Eze and Morgan Gibbs-White, right? So Eze's another kind of physical beast within himself. Morgan Gibbs-White is a strong player, but not in the same physicality. They also brought in Kolo Muani, who's another one who is a bit of a hybrid between like a physical number 9 and a running behind type of striker. He depending on how you want him to play, he can shift and change that dynamic. But there's a lot going on there, and I think that he might even be better than he might be our best option up front here. But we just ain't seen it, in a Tottenham shirt. So there's a lot that they were looking at, and you can see that the left wing right now was one of those areas that they were looking at to improve and to kind of have a guy that was ready-made for the first 11. They didn't get that over the line. We know some of the reasons. They know more of the reasons why it didn't happen. But this is what we've got, and it's about utilizing what we've got in the right areas. So if I would have put Johnson on the left-hand side, he has played there, but we know that he's stronger on the right-hand side than the left, you know? So, and there's times, and the biggest criticism that Johnson has, which I tried to say in the example between him and Kudus, is that there's certain things, as in work rate or getting involved, that he doesn't do. He's a bit of a almost like, I don't want to say goal hanger, but he's a bit of a hoverer, you know. And he will get busy at times, depending on what type of game it is. But he would be somebody that would hug that line, waiting for the ball over the top to make sure that he's not offside, to run on, to get one touch, get two touch, and put it in there. The one thing with Johnson is that you know he can score. So would you put him up there? It depends on what you want. But the one thing that we do know is that Frank likes Odegaard for some reason, because he's put him in the Champions League squad as well. So these are the options that we have. So we've got to try and get these options that we have up to speed and try and get the best out of them. So it swings and roundabouts, bro. It swings and roundabouts. If you want to say that Odegaard failed his audition today for the left wing, you know, he's had 2 goes up there. He's had 2 chances where he started the game. Well, now it's up to Johnson to take that left wing spot and go, all right, and cool, I'm going to show you why I should start every game. It's up for grabs right now. So go and grab it.
Yeah, Rick, just stay with you. 37 minutes, Villa get their goal, pull a goal back. Morgan Rogers with the strike. Just briefly talk us through this goal. Who's at fault for this? There's some people online were blaming Vicario, thought he was out of position. Personally, I just think he got a bit of luck because it bounced off Javi Simmons and back to his feet, straight, literally back to him, went round Javi Simmons, and then nobody, as you can see from this image, apologies to viewers, listeners on audio, but there is nobody within about 5 or 7 yards in front of him. So he just stepped on, and it has to be said, I just thought it was one of those unstoppable shots. I don't think anybody saves that. What do you reckon, Rick?
It was a worldie, wasn't it? It was an absolute worldie. But Craig, I'll kind of throw it back to you in the sense that I know your son plays goalkeeper, and what did he say about Vicario's positioning? Because you see the replay, and it's almost like the right height. You would say that it's savable, or you would say that if Vicario's positioning was better, then he would have got to it, sort of thing. But then you see how well the ball was struck and how much it dipped and how much swerve there was on there, and you go, oh well, was it? What? So what did your boy say, Craig?
Goalkeepers Union. I don't think he thought it was Vicario's fault. As you can see from this picture, he's actually not in a bad position. He's not going to be ever, generally, as a goalkeeper, you're not going to be on your line. And as I just move it on, I think he can't see because I think there's Van der Ven in the way. And that has opened up that side of the goal. But he is kind of in the right position, in my opinion. I just think with the way that looped up and then literally down like a knuckleball, I just think it looks worse than it probably is. I'm always critical of Vicario if he does make a clanger, but on this occasion, I don't think you can blame him too much. I just think sometimes you have to say it's a great strike, personally.
Yeah, I'll take your lead on that one, bro. Because I was 50-50. I was on both sides of the coin. Then I was like, the dip's there and the swerve, But then I was like, but is it? But I'll take that.
What do you think, Melvyn? Was that Vicario's fault, or was it lack of shutting down in the middle of the park?
It reminds me a lot of the Eriksen goal at Stamford Bridge when he shot from outside the box, and the goalkeeper was stunned in a way with the movement of the ball. And I do think a little bit Vicario was way too much to his left, he could have been a bit more to his right. But I guess if the ball is on the left-hand side of the pitch, you're always going to be leaning towards the side of the ball. It's a tricky situation because he makes at times world-class saves that keeps us in the game, and at moments he cannot save them all. He's a good shot stopper, but just unsavable. It's a good shot from more years.
Yeah, absolutely. The same with you, Melvyn. 42nd minute, Kudus crosses. Tell completely missed the ball. Went through his legs at the far post. What's your view on Matisse Tell?
I think he's 20 years old, or 21. He's still very, very young footballer. And this is my view on Odegaard as well. I think both of them are on the same page. They're promising. They're very young. I think we don't see the difference between 21 and 24. When we signed Heung-min Son, he was 23. And if you think it took him a season until he got running, so he's 24, and he was 26 during Wembley days. So he didn't really hit his prime until, I would say, 25, 26, 27, 28, and he just kept going and getting better and better. So if you think these players are in their early 20s, very early 20s, I just think it makes a massive difference to be, between 20 years old and 24. I think they're showing signs of promise and glimpses and moments of really, when you see them for their country, they're different players. You see Matisse Tell and Odegaard play against 20-year-olds, and they're scoring too and assisting each other and scoring worldies outside the box. And we judge them too harshly because the truth is, if we didn't have the injuries that we have, they wouldn't be playing. They'd be on the bench. They'd be coming on the last 10 minutes. They'd be playing in the cups. They wouldn't be playing. And the reason they're playing and they're getting minutes is because Solanke is injured. Koulibaly is not fit. Kulusevski is still coming back. Madison is injured. I think our whole front line would be different if we didn't have the injuries that we have. I like both of these players. I share the frustration. I just think they're young. I think the club has bought these players with the mind of, growing them and developing them, and eventually they will catch up with the team and become better than they are. Because I still think there's lots of improvement, and I think having a coach like Thomas Frank, he will improve them, because I think he does see the good side of these players, and he will understand that these players still need to mature, and I think the minutes that they're getting is, in a sense, it will do good for them in their career long term, but it won't do good for our position. I think if we want to get Champions League football again, we can't keep dropping these points. I mean, we could have gone second today. My brother told me, if we didn't lose to Bournemouth and drop these silly points, we would be very close to Arsenal. But it's a shame, because we're relying on these young players, these inexperienced young players to score. And when you think in the past, I used to say, for example, when we lost Harry, okay, who's going to replace Harry's goals? When we lost Sonny now, who's going to replace Sonny's goals? I mean, Sonny still had, I think, over 10 goal contributions last season. So Johnson was the one to give us that last season. Johnson was our top goal scorer. At the moment, he's not even playing. So you have to think, who's going to give us 15 goal contributions? And from our front line, the worrying thing is that they're not scoring. You see today, Bentancur scored. The other day, Paulinho scored at the end. The goals are not coming from our front line. I mean, great to see against Leeds with Tell scoring and Kudus. Two very good goals, very good finishes. A bit lucky with Tel because it got deflected in, but he still made the run, still got the shot off. But like I said, with these players, there's gonna be an element of us having to wait until these players mature and experience and have the minutes. I think if they were at a big club like Chelsea, in a way what Bayern Munich did, what did they do? They sent them on loan because they don't have time to bed these players in. Big clubs, properly big clubs that want to win the league and want to win trophies, they buy these players young and then they send them on loan, and so they have the time to make these mistakes and bed in. But at the moment, we have to, in a way, suffer until these players get better. And like I said, if we didn't have the injuries that we have, they wouldn't be playing.
Terry, let's come around to you. Basically, excuse me, that was the end of the first half. Not much else happened. I've written down here, miss Romero with his through balls and aggressiveness at the back. And that the goal has masked a poor half from Tottenham, and that we could do with Bergvall in the middle and his energy. Which of those points do you agree or may not agree with any of them?
It's interesting. So you thought it was a poor half. I actually put on here that I thought Spurs were definitely the stronger team. I thought we had a really good first half. I thought we were just really wasteful on the left-hand side. The only thing I had in my notes, I think Xavi just needs to assert himself more into the game. I wish you'd go a little more towards the right than to the left. Do you guys know what happened with Udogie? I think Spence is amazing, especially defensively. I think he's amazing, but I do think Udogie offers a lot more offensively on the left-hand side, especially being left-footed, and he has an ability to drive all the way down to the touchline and get those crosses in. That's something that Spence doesn't do as well. And I thought with the weakness on the left-hand side, that would have been a help. And I was kind of surprised not to see Udogie at all. So I don't know if you guys know what happened to him.
He got a niggle after international duty, and it's been described as minor, but they're taking it as a precaution. So I think it's more to do with his injury history of recent times, where Tottenham have been very careful with Udogie, haven't they? They've been even reintroducing him into the starting lineup. They've been very careful with him. So he's come back. He's felt a little niggle, and so they've taken him out as a precaution, from what I heard. Tel.
Okay, yeah, that's frustrating. The Romero. I hope that whatever injury he got in warmups, hopefully that's not too serious. But yeah, I agree with you, Craig.
Minor adductor injury for Morero. Frank doesn't seem to think it's anything too big, so expect him to be out for about 6 months, probably.
No. Right. Yeah, I mean it's the way that he's talked about a dead leg. My gosh, for Colomwani, geez, I've gotten a dead leg before, and it's you ride on the ground for 5 minutes and then you kind of walk it off. Apparently in England, dead leg means your leg may have to be amputated. It seems like a totally different term in England than it does in America. So I don't know. It's a
that was a bit of a weird one, Terry. I must agree with that. It was bizarre, to be out that long, but very odd. Stay with you, Terry. 53rd minute, Odegaard has to score. I've written down there. His shot hit Konsa. They had a look at handball. Do you know the one I'm talking about there in the second half, right at the beginning?
Yeah, that came from a really good long ball from Danso, which I love. I love those Danso long balls. I think they're really, really dangerous. I wish there was some way that we could figure out how to get him, Van de Ven, and Romero all on the team just to have those long balls. I think they're really good. I think Odegaard actually did make good contact on that ball. Just Konsa was right in front of him. It definitely wasn't a handball. I mean, you saw Konsa kind of bring his hands in as much as possible.
Yeah,
it hit him right in the chest. But that was a really good chance. Just a couple of minutes after that as well, there was another great attack by Tottenham. We had a really close shot by Polinia that went just to the right of the goal, and we looked so threatening in that early part of the second half, just like we looked really threatening the first part of the first half as well. So that would have been nice. I felt like that would have put the game away there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I mean, probably the best part of the game for me was that beginning of the second half. We were really pushing. I thought we were going to nick a goal there, but it sadly wasn't to be, as we all know. Yeah, not ideal. Ricky, come around to you. Actually, 77th minute. Then this was the killer, really. This Buendia goal. I have to say, and I hate him, but Matty Cash. I don't know whether he meant it or not, but one of the best crossfield passes I've seen this season. Great takedown. I think it was Dina, excuse me, on the right wing there, taking the ball down, gives it to Buendia, and then he just pulls off another fantastic shot. What did you make of this goal? Who, if anybody, can you blame for this goal?
Do you know what? I think it's one of those improvised kind of football genius moments, and I don't want to really give that to Cash, but you've got to give credit where credit is due. And he was actually being told to pass the ball back to his goalkeeper, but he refused and took a one-touch volley pass straight into Digne, who brought it down tremendously, controlled it tremendously. So it was one of those where it caught us on the break, as they say. And when it came down to Buendia's goal, it was like a golf shot. He read the turf and he read the rain and the wind speed that was coming in from the west, and he got it in the best place that he could possibly get it, where nobody could reach it, and went round everybody. Again, I would ask like humbly, I would ask, as in I really don't know. Is that another one where you think that Vicario could have got there, guys, or was that just so perfectly shot that it just kind of was always going to go in as soon as it left his foot type of deal?
I don't know. I think it was right in the corner when it really.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think you can probably blame Vicario. He was saying it took a nick off. Somebody was in front of him and that he was offside, but he actually wasn't offside anyway, and he wasn't really obstructed in vision. So I just think, again, you got to put it down for a very good strike, to be honest with you. Yeah. That's just my opinion on it. I don't know what you guys think, Melvyn and Terry.
Yeah, I fully blame Cash, Digne, and Buendia on that goal. It was just a really nice pass, a really nice touch, and a really nice shot. So it's nothing we can.
And the thing is, we could have had a couple of those moments. There was times when Porro had the ball, and if he would have given it the first time pass instead of a touch and a pass, when we was on the break, we could have been in those moments, where just two passes and we're in. There were plenty of those that happened, but just at the last moment, it was either not enough strength. Kudus had one as well, where he tried to find, I can't remember who now, but he tried to find someone on the left-hand side. I think it was Odebear, but I'm not sure. But it just didn't have enough power, and I think Konza was there to kind of mop it up. So we had those type of moments as well, where we could have just broken them, and they were left kind of thinking what happened here, but it happened to us. Great volley cross pass, then great take down, and then great shot. You got to hold your hands up when things like that happen.
I actually agree. Actually, with Scott's comment, it's more a defensive problem and not a keeper issue for that one. I do agree with that. Both times, for both goals, we haven't actually shut down the attacking player quickly enough, and that we can't let that happen again. Melvyn, coming round to you, a wrath of substitutions over the next 7 or 8 minutes. Kalamouani and Bergvall on for Javi and Odebear, Sarr and Johnson on for Bentancur and Spence. On the 93rd minute, Spurs were pushing, but to no avail, as we now know. Kalamouani has a wild swipe at the ball and misses it completely. What have you made of Kalamouani so far, Melvyn? I know we didn't see much of him when he did come on in the Champions League, and we didn't see a lot of him today. But did you see anything today that makes you think he's going to give us that little bit extra up front that we need?
I think I've seen more Juventus to be able to form like an opinion on him. I watched quite a bit of this of Serie A, and he was quite good for them. Can score left, can score with the right, can score with his head. He's clinical. Obviously, there's still rust on his legs. He's not played at all for us. He's still finding his fitness. Had no pre-season. He had the dead leg, which was apparently an injury in training with Sar. I think he can be a very good player for us. He's versatile. He can play up front. He can play on the left. I think there's a lot more to him than we've seen. Obviously, coming on in the second half with not enough time to impact the game, I think the subs should have been done much sooner, especially with Kolomani. I think Kolomani would have brought on at halftime, in my opinion. I just think Tell wasn't going to do enough to impact the game. Needed to be more like radical with his substitutions, be more reactive, not wait until we go a goal down and then do the subs. It needed to be, I want to win the game, you can go on, you can come off. You didn't do enough for 45 minutes. There's nothing you can do now. With certain players, he could have taken them off. I think he needs to start the next game. Can you tell who knows our next fixture?
Monaco
on Tuesday, which we're going to come on to in a minute. But just a point here from King Holder, I'm confused by the panel today. How were we good today? Were you watching the same game? Personally, I don't think we were good. I thought we were pretty average and bad in parts. But as the other guy said, there may well have been little spells today. Certainly, the way we started, I thought was okay, but really after 5 minutes, that was all she wrote. And I did hear a few boos.
But Craig, you know what? I think for those comments and for those type of, for King Hoddle, who's a big fan of the show, he's always on. Always contributing and blessed for that. But you guys know how I normally see things. I will always kind of look to the bright side or the positive side of what can happen. And like Terry, for me, I thought the first half was really kind of back and forth, and I felt that we had them on the ropes. And in the second half, we came out, looking to make that impact, looking to go back ahead. And it was one of those that caught us on the counter-attack. So, Craig, if you're feeling like, if you see those red flags, that was another comment that came up, and you're not feeling as positive as the rest of us, like share what you saw that concerns you and what was a red flag to you, and where you think that there's troubled spots rather than positive spots.
Yeah, it's not just today's game, Rick. I've seen red flags is probably a good word for a few games now. The Bodo game, other games where we've been behind and come back and managed. We've showed character to get draws as well. But I just think I want to see more. I just don't think we're showing enough in certain games. I think we've been lucky in a couple of games, and as well as showing a bit of guts and determination to get back in, I just think we've been lucky as well. Red flags for me is the right way of putting it. I just don't think everything in the garden's rosy at the moment. I really don't. And I think you were talking about that mob down the road. I think it was you, Rick. Or no, it might well have been Melvyn actually talking about, had we beaten Bournemouth, had we done better against Wolves, of course we would be pushing Arsenal. But that's the difference. That's the difference, fair to say. That's the difference. Arsenal have been winning games, and that's why they are a level above us at the moment. And I hate saying that, and I hate giving them any acknowledgement at all. But that's the level we're at the moment. And Thomas Frank needs to either get more out of this squad, or what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to need to strengthen in the January transfer window, because it's just clear to see we've scored goals, but as one of you said, we're not. Our front line needs to be chipping in with more goals. Richarlison started well. he hasn't ended well, so to speak, up until now. You know, Tell scored one goal, great, but I want to see goals from Odegaard. I want to see more. Dare I say it, player of the season, Kudus. I want to see more from Kudus. But he was drifting in and out of the game today because you can't rely on one player to be fantastic for 90 minutes. He's going to have periods where he needs to rest. He's going to have periods where he's not got the ball. The only time we ever look dangerous is when Kudus had the ball today. I didn't think that we looked dangerous at all when anybody else had it. I'll be brutally honest, but perhaps I'm just being a bit, you know, perhaps I'm not being as positive as I should be, but I'm just saying the way I see it. I just don't think all in the garden is rosy as I'd love to think it was. Of course I would. Look, let's come on to that game's done. There was a few boos at the final whistle. We lost, as we know. But we've got Monaco on Wednesday, so it's a quick bounce back. So last few questions for you. Well, let's stay with you, Ricky, for this. Monaco on Wednesday. Sadly, we won't be playing against Eric Dyer because Eric Dyer is injured, and I'm sure it's going to be gutting for Eric not to be able to play against his former club. Monaco are 30th in that huge Champions League table with Spurs sitting in 9th. Monaco haven't started the season brilliantly in League or the Champions League. In the Champions League, they've had 1 loss and 1 draw. So, Rick, I suppose what my question is, what should Spurs lineup be? And give me a score prediction.
Oh, what should Spurs lineup be? Well, if Romero can play, then I'd definitely chuck him in. Also, I just want to say about Kudus today, there were times that Aston Villa were double and triple manning him, you know, and what we didn't do was utilize, when those players were drawn to him, we didn't utilize the gaps and the spaces that those particular players left. So when it got to like 65, 70 minutes, I would have swapped Kudus' position, whether that goes into the number 10 or on the left. I would have swapped his position just to kind of free him up a little bit because he was getting double teamed or triple teamed at times to shut him down because he was so creative. But I do see Kudus playing again on against Monaco. I would love for Kolomawani to start. I know he's not ready, and we would have to kind of give him that grace for him to not be ready. But he has to find his feet, and he has to find his feet quickly because there's a lot of games ahead there, and he's going to be needed. So we can't overplay him, but I would love him to start to get a run out and for the team to start understanding how he plays because I think he could be dangerous too. Who's going to be on the left is going to be the question. Who's going to be on the left? Does Odegaard start again? Do you start a Johnson who can probably get you a goal? Or it does... Oh, no. Tell's out of the squad, isn't he? So he can't play on the left. Does Charleston play on the left? So I think that's going to be the question of the game and whether you dog his back to give us that balance. Because like Terry said earlier, just because he's left-footed, he's so comfortable on that left-hand side, and with his left foot, it does help stretch that pitch. It does help make it a bit wider, and it does bring the balance to the side. So let's see who we bring in and what our game plan is for that. But bro, I never see us losing even on the worst of days. So I'm not going to see us losing against them lot either. So I'm going to go for a 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 Tottenham.
To Tottenham, obviously. Melvyn, same two questions to you. Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see come in? What do you think the lineup will be? And give me a score prediction.
I personally would keep Danso in the team. I wouldn't play Romero. I think he played well today. I think I would save Romero for the Premier League. It's a long season. You don't want him to get injured. Don't risk it. I don't think having Danso in the team will make us any weaker. I like to see rotation. I don't like to see. I personally the same with Kudus. I would rest him for the Premier League. I play Johnson on the right. On the left, it'll be interesting to see who plays. Possibly he'll play Richarlison up top. Koulibaly on the left, potentially Xavi Simons again. He'll play in the Champions League. He has Champions League experience. The middle, I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to play Sarr or he can't keep playing Paulinho and Bentancur game after game. He's going to have to drop one of them or rest one of them. So I would go with Sarr, and it's going to be tough to play away in the Champions League, especially against Monaco. I remember playing them at Wembley, and they caused us problems. Obviously, it's not the same team, but just memories of them. It'll be tricky. I'm going to say it'll be a draw, 1-1. But I can see us rotating, resting some players.
Okay, yep. I was going to say 1-1 as well. I agree with you with that, Melvyn. And finally, Terry, what do you think the lineup's going to be? And give me a score prediction.
I'd like to see us go strong, especially with that draw against Bodo. I think anytime that we can get a point or 3 points, especially in these away games in the Champions League, I think that's going to be really huge towards trying to at least contend for that top 8 in the Champions League. I agree with Melvyn mostly with what he said. I think it's important for us to rotate. I think Paulinho and Bentancur should both get a rest. To see some combination of Gray getting some minutes, Bergvall, Pape Sarr, Udogie, if he is back and healthy, it'd be good to see him. Really like to see Koulibaly start somewhere, either at the left wing or up front. I know we haven't seen that much of him. I think one thing I've been kind of pleasantly surprised by Koulibaly is kind of how aggressive he is. I think he just shows a lot of industry, and I think you notice that difference between him and Odobert and him and Tell, just in terms of how aggressive he is with the pressing, trying to track back and tackle. I mean, I think in that first game, he was in for like 30 seconds, got a yellow card, right? I don't think it was deserved, but it kind of shows his intent. So I'd like to see him start. I think I don't know too much about Monaco, to be honest. It's a little bummed that Eric Dier's not going to be there, but if we can go there and steal a win, I think that would be really, really huge for going forward, not just for the Champions League, but just for the general sentiment of the team as well. Without a doubt, they're going to be really, really disappointed with the result today. I still stand by the fact that I think we played really well and lost today. But that rotation is going to be important. That's going to be tough. Everton on the weekend is going to be tough as well. So having some kind of good rotation, but if we could somehow get 2 wins out of this week, that would kind of make up for today. I'm feeling strangely positive about Monaco. I'm going to say 2-0 Tottenham.
I'll take that. I would say that. And what a great way to end the show. Spurs are going to win 2-0, so Terry Kim says, so you can take that to the bank. Terry's rarely wrong with his score predictions, so we'll take that, definitely. Thanks very much for joining us, all 3 guests. Terry, let's just stay with you. Where can people find you, and where you're up to at the moment?
I'm going to try to get over this try to get over this loss today here, and go out and play some tennis. It's a beautiful day here in New York, New Jersey. So, but thank you, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. It was a bit sad dissecting this one as well, but it's always great to talk through it. It's always been a therapy. Thanks to everyone in the comments and everyone watching.
No worries. Thank you very much, Terry. Melvyn, where can people find you? What you've been up to?
Yeah, not much. Just in Malta, if you want to follow the official Malta Spurs Instagram page, I have it written down on you. If you can see it on YouTube, if you're on audio, it's Malta Spurs _official 1981. Give us a follow. We're trying to grow our following of our little island and of Spurs fans. So yeah, give us a follow.
Lovely. Thanks, Melvyn. And finally, Ricky, lovely to have you back and to have your positivity back with us. Where can people find you and what you've been up to?
You guys know where you can find me. You can find me probably on the next show against Monaco. I'll be there. But you can find me on X at Ricky J Norwood. On Instagram, you can find me official Ricky Norwood. That's without the J, because why not, innit? Let's confuse people. Yeah, man. Yeah, last couple of weeks I've been like you said earlier, bro. I've been filming this film. It's a horror version of Aladdin. It's called Aladdin the Monkey's Paw, and it's been super epic. It's been super epic. My first ever horror. So you know, we had to do the whole makeup flex. There were things that I've never been asked to do before, which has been great to jump into, and it's one of the reasons that I love acting in itself, is because you always get to try something that you would never try in your own life, or with your own kind of, you know, set of ways that you live life. So it's always great to jump into a new character and find them. And great cast, great crew, really, really good time. But at the same time, I'm real happy to be back with you beautiful people on the panel, and again with you beautiful people from around the world that tune into us lot, having a rant and a moan sometimes. So yeah, man, it's been super fun. It's been super busy, but I'm happy, and I'm super grateful to be back. And it's just unfortunate that it was on the loss today, but we will win again, gentlemen. We will win again, and we will be smiling. And I think there's good foundations within the side. We just haven't put the roof on the house yet, so we will get there little by little bit. We'll get there the Tottenham way, which is always the hard way. But little by little bit, we'll do the damn thing. But just lovely to be back with you guys, man. So thank you for having me. Honor and a pleasure, man.
No worries. Yeah, we will be standing in a plant pot again one day, watching Spurs lift the trophy, Rick. Definitely. Well, yeah, I hope everybody's enjoyed that today for a bit of cathartism, and just chewing the fat over what, let's face it, wasn't an ideal Spurs performance, but we got the chance to put it right very quickly on Wednesday against Monaco, whereas Ricky said we'll be back after that game to hopefully talk about another Spurs win. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening, everyone, and as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on.